Hi guys, let me know if you can hear me, because I have to put my phone on silent. It might ring, it might vibrate, an alarm may go off, so you may see my hand go to my phone screen. I'm recording on, or I'm live on my phone. I just want to go to my live on my laptop so that I can read any comments that come up. I hope some of you can join me today. It would be lovely if you could. Here we are. Of course, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to going live on my laptop, and the orientation of the phone is doing my head in. That's a bit better. Sorry, just bear with me a second, guys, because I'd like to say I don't know what I'm doing. And of course, it doesn't want to play on my laptop, that is. So let me know if there's anybody there. Let me know if you can hear me. And I just want to say a great big thank you to all of my new subscribers. It's jumped up quite a bit since last week, so I want to say thank you very much. I also want to say thank you to everybody who has donated to Cats Protection. It is awesome. I really appreciate the donations. The cats will appreciate the donations, and of course, Cats Protection will appreciate the donations as well. So just bear with me, guys, while I try to figure out what I'm doing. So if you're there, give me a thumbs up if you can. Giving me a like basically pushes me up into the algorithms. It makes me more visible on YouTube. Obviously, I'm a very small channel, so it's very challenging to a small channel like mine to get seen on the live streams or on any videos, really. It's incredibly difficult. I'm still trying to figure out where I am on this so that I can have a look at my video and talk to you all while I am live, because I won't be able to see the comments, because the comments will be on my phone, and these are my old glasses because I fell a few weeks ago when I was running. I tripped over a root that decided to jump out at me, and I injured my knee quite badly. I injured my shoulder, not injuries, but grazed them, and there was a lot of blood and stuff. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting few weeks of running. This weekend I was in Liverpool, and my heart goes out to everybody who was affected by the horrible incident that happened in Liverpool last night. Just dreadful. My family lives in Ainsdale, which is Southport, part of Liverpool really. It's Merseyside, and I was very sort of worried and afraid to see what was happening last night. So I didn't get to see a huge amount until today. Last night I was watching Supertansky and I saw that it came up on her, somebody commented about it. So I decided to have a look at it quickly, and I was falling asleep at the time. I was incredibly tired. I did my long run yesterday. I ran about 6.5 kilometers, maybe a little bit further. It was a difficult run yesterday. I thought it would have been easy because I was, I'd rested a lot over the weekend. Being at my mum's, I hadn't been for a run and I'd been sitting on my bum the whole weekend, and I was hoping that I would have been able to run there, but there was no time really. So I decided, right, I'll go for a long run. And I'd looked at the weather forecast. I always check the weather forecast for the week so I know which dates I'm going to go for my big run on. And the weather was better for yesterday than today, and rightly so, because today it's raining. So, which is good because we need the rain, but it's also bad in that. Right, there we go. Right, there we go. So, I can see my video finally and any comments that come up. So if you are with me, please drop a comment. I see that somebody is watching. Let me know who it is. I don't know because I can't see properly. So thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. So yeah, I don't often get a chance to do lives, and I haven't had a chance to record any new content recently. I have been so busy with life. Mainly it was my essay, my final essay for my psychology degree. This is part of my, this board here is part of the work that I was doing, the study work and so on. Who am I seeing? Scott. Hey Scott, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me. If you can, share this with other users, other guys that follow Graham and Politics Social. I'm going to talk about that as well in a bit. So anyway, this is the work that I was doing on my essay. I haven't had a chance to tidy it up yet or put it away. As I say, this last weekend I was away in Liverpool visiting my mum, and then I was I'm now doing housework, catching up on all my house cleaning because I have got a visit from my landlord tomorrow to do house inspection. So frantically trying to clean. And I thought, you know what, let me go live because I want to talk about cats protection. I want to talk about my running. I want to say, again, a great big thank you to everybody who is supporting me with the running. Even just your kind words makes me have that much more enthusiasm for running. Some days I just think, oh, I could have a rest today. But then I think, no, I've got to go out and run because I'm raising money and because of all the support that you guys are giving me. I really, really do appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who has donated to Cats Protection. I really appreciate it. It makes a massive difference to Cats Protection. Next month, I will be running for Race for Life for cancer research. I normally do that in June. I'm running the 10K on the 29th of June for cancer research. So I will be raising money for that. I know I keep begging for money, but the money doesn't go to me. The money goes to the charities. And I figure I'm running anyway, so why not, support charities while I do it? And I always choose my favourite charities. So Cats Protection, I run for because I'm a cat lover. I've got 5 cats. I'd have more if I could. So that's, one of the charities. I'm going to keep that charity open. And then next month, Cancer Research, I'm running for my dad because he passed away 3 years ago from liver cancer. And it was horrible. And so I'm running in his memory, and I'll be raising money for, obviously, cancer research. July, I'll probably run for Cats Protection again. August, I doubt I'll be running for anybody in August because I've got so much going on in August. I'm going to Bloodstock Festival. I am going to a pagan festival. So there's a lot of stuff going on in August. So September, I will be back to raising money, probably for cats protection, because I'm running a 15K trail run. It's in Derbyshire. It starts at Bakewell. The Montser Trail or something. It used to be an old train line that's been changed into a trail. So I'm really looking forward to that because trail running is my thing. Luckily, the 10K that I'm doing in Clumber Park for cancer research next month is a trail, mostly trail. There are some roads involved. And then in November, I will be running the Clown Half Marathon. The Clown is pretty much where I reside. And it's Clown with an E on the end, which actually comes from the word cloon, which means stream or river which runs behind my house. So that's where the name comes from. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about my running first. Sorry, just having some water. Must hydrate after my run. Although I do take a bottle of water with me when I go, but I don't drink a huge amount while running. I just sort of wet my mouth. But what I do with my water is I half fill it and then put it in the freezer overnight so it's frozen. And then I fill it up with water, the rest of it with water before my run. So I've got nice cold water to last me, especially with this hot weather. So hi, Trip, lovely to see you. Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for your really, really generous donation to Cats Protection. That is phenomenal. Thank you so very, very much. I'm sure that the Moggies will appreciate it. Thank you, Scott. Enjoy your stuff, though hard hitting. It is at times for a guy, but then we need that education. It is hard hitting, Scott. And I think that I get angry. I do get angry at misogyny, at the DV, SA, SV against women, rape, and so on. And I'm using these specific words and terminology because YouTube doesn't like the actual words. It then, not that I'm being monetized, but it just doesn't show them to the audience that I'm trying to reach. It is hard hitting, but these are the things that I believe in, and I'm hoping to help at least one or two people out there who may need that help. Having gone through several toxic relationships myself and experienced SA and DV and SV and grape, I feel that it's necessary for me to talk about that and to help educate other people and to help women. We do want to obviously educate men, but I do want to help women to recognize those signs and to help them get out of those situations as soon as they can. Trip sounds like fun but exhausting. I recently got some new trainers and oh my gee, they make such a huge difference. They do. Let me know what trainers you got, what brand you prefer to wear. I use, and I've got them next to me, I use Adidas for my trail running. They're Adidas Terex. They're actually a hiking shoe, but they're waterproof. And excuse the colour of underneath, I've been running today. They actually use Continental tyres on the bottom. So they have really good grip when you're running trail. I did actually get a half size larger this time because with my previous size, my toes were sort of almost at the end. So when I started running in these new trainers, it took me a while to get used to that extra fifth that extra half size. So I kept tripping over, and some of you will know that I did actually trip and fall quite badly. And grazed my knee quite badly, grazed my shoulder quite badly. I face planted, so I broke my glasses, and the lenses were scratched. Got a bit of a scar and a bruise on my face, but what did I do? I got up and carried on running with blood streaming down my leg because that's I wasn't finished with my run. I did cut my run short that day, but I wasn't finished. So let me know what trainers you have, Trip. I'm going to be buying myself a pair of running trainers soon. They will be Adidas. They're my preferred brand. I have tried Reebok, Nike. I did like my Reeboks. Nike, Brooks, Asics. A brand called Kalenji, which I really, really loved, but you cannot find the ones that, I cannot find the ones that I used to use. So I stopped buying them and I'm just buying the Adidas now. Let's have a look. Scott says, sometimes we don't realize we're doing it, so it's good for that self-realization. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, we don't realize we're doing it. And you know what? Women do it too. Women actually do it too. And women can berate other women for those things. So a lot of women need to be aware of these things. And I don't want to say all boomers, but I do find that older women, older than me, tend to say things that they have been groomed to say over their lifespan, such as, you shouldn't be wearing a short skirt, you shouldn't go out alone, and so on and so on and so on. So it's a case of trying to educate them, whereas I'm Gen X, and I have found that Gen X women tend to be a lot more aware of these things, a lot more outspoken about these things. Educating young lads is the way. Yeah, it is, especially when we have people out there like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, which I'm going to talk about in a little while. Andrew Tate, I'm going to talk about him in a little while. And to call it out if we see it, and it's hard. It is very hard because a lot of guys will go on the defensive, understandably. I was at a festival last year, a pagan festival, and I was talking to a guy, good friend, and he was talking about an issue that happened where he was in a bar and he said to this woman, oh, you shouldn't dress like that if you don't want to be raped. And I said, whoa, hang on, you can't, you've got to stop saying things like that. You've got to rather be a little bit more, understanding that it's not the woman's fault. She can wear what she wants. So, yeah, it's all about, recognizing those things and educating those people. Trip. You've got Pumas, they're so soft and spongy, and wide toe box. Yeah, I go for a wide toe box because there's nothing worse than your toes bashing the end and getting bruised toes. Not waterproof. You can't do waterproof ones, too sweaty. That's what I've found with these Adidas ones, to be honest, is they're Gore-Tex. So they don't get too sweaty. And then it's your socks that make a huge difference. I brought this is a new pair, I haven't worn them yet. I run in more mile. They tell you which foot to put on as well, so left and right. But they're double thickness and they're anti-blister and they wick away the sweat and they really work. I have not had blisters with these socks since November last year when I started running again. And I just want to let everybody know that last year, this time, I could barely walk. I was having to use a stick. I couldn't get up out of my chair. And now I'm running on average 5Ks a day. But yeah, these socks are brilliant. They're a bit pricey. You get 5 in a pack. They do men's sizes. These are women's sizes. These are a size 5.5 to an 8. Slightly larger than an 8. I mean, I'm a 9.5 in trainer for running. And I'm 6 foot tall, just so you know. I don't have necessarily big feet, but they balance me out. So the heel tends to go a little bit higher, but they are really, really comfy and they don't slip. There's nothing worse than having running socks that slip and fall down. Absolutely hate it. So I got rid of all my rubbish cheap ones and decided, right, yeah, only going to wear the more expensive ones. Scott, your son runs in his army boots. He's strange. Hey, if they work for him, they work for him. I mean, living in South Africa, all the guys after school at the age of 18 got their call-up papers and they'd have to go into the army. So they would have to run in their army boots, and they're not comfortable. I couldn't do it. I used to have a pair of Docs, absolutely hated them because they would rub on the back of my heels. But my brother-in-law, he is from London, but also lived in South Africa, and he had to join the army. He became a lieutenant. He was actually really good at what he did. He speaks Afrikaans because obviously you had to speak Afrikaans. It was an Afrikaans army, and they made them run and walk in those army boots. And he said that they injected the blisters with something, I can't remember what, it could have been hydrogen peroxide, and it hardens the feet. And it's something that I do, is try to keep my calluses because they protect your feet. Sounds weird, but yeah. Scott, I guess changing the historical norms is not easy. That's why it's called progressive, I guess. Yeah, you're right. It is difficult changing those historical norms. And we know that from, you know, from what we see in politics, that the older generations don't like progression. They want to regress back to what they experienced in the 50s. Trip, and he's never been near the military. Well, you know what, Scott? He's ready for the zombie apocalypse. You know, what can I say? I am too. Got my backpack packed already. Trip, I think the way to get through to the younger generation of males is through sports. Sports and misogyny is almost a direct correlation. Unfortunately, what if we could feminize traditionally men's? And that is something that is really, really interesting. I watched a video last night. Cannot remember the channel, but I think I did put it either into my psychology section or into one of the other sections. If I didn't, I'll go and add it into my watch lists. And he was actually monitoring. There was quite a big research study done on what type of bodies women prefer. Now, Andrew Tate is always saying that women prefer muscular bodies, the typical Chad type body, you know, the strong jawline. Think Johnny Bravo, muscles, somebody who is muscular. And actually what they found was that women don't go for that. Women prefer somebody who has got a softer body, a more, a slimmer body, not too skinny, or a more of a dad bod kind of thing, a strong body, but not muscular in that overly trained gym way. And yet it was really strange because going into the comments, a lot of the men on there had said, no, but women like muscular bodies. But this was an anonymous questionnaire that was done. And the women said what they felt they liked. The faces and the legs were cut off. So it was just the main sort of torso part of the body and the arms. Many women don't like muscular bodies because muscular men make them scared. It's that simple. Also, from a woman's perspective, muscular men who train in gyms tend to only be interested in going to gym, only be interested in their own bodies and their specific food and, you know, the creatine that they drink and the, you know, the various powders and, you know, if they use, whatchamacallits, it's just gone from my mind. And, you know, a guy that's like that is not going to give the girlfriend as much attention as she wants. Yes, there are women who go to gym and who train. I used to, back in the day when I was much younger, I used to do bodybuilding stuff, weights, free weights, all that sort of thing. I used to spend about 3 hours in the gym a night. I used to work out on the cross trainer, you know, the step machine. Then I'd do the circuit. Then I'd go and do free weights, whichever I was doing. So whether it was arms or back or stomach or legs, I'd work on different exercises, always free weights. There were some machine weights that I did, like tricep pushers and leg press. I used to use the machine rather than do free weight leg press. But I used to do free bench press, free weight bench press. I used to have guys spotting me. And I loved it. I loved going to gym. And then things changed, and sort of after I'd done the weights, I'd go for a swim. I'd swim a mile. That's what started my sporting life off. Was my dad taught me to swim, and I was a long distance swimmer. That's what I did. My dream was to one day swim the channel. I don't think I could do it now, but yeah, that was a goal that I had. And when I lived in South Africa, we had a pool in the back garden, and I used to swim every day. And then I played hockey and I played netball. And then when I was in my sort of early 40s, I started running, and it was something that I'd never sort of considered before, because I hated running, but I became addicted. And then unfortunately I fell pregnant and lost the baby, so I stopped running. I was also a yoga teacher, so I did that for a very long time as well. So yeah, I guess I've always been into physical fitness, and then I became really ill, both physically and mentally. I do have bipolar disorder, but I carry on. This running for me now, I have entered the ballot for the London Marathon for next year, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I get in, that I get a place. It would be my first marathon. It would be my first full marathon, but I think it would be just awesome to run that marathon as a first one. Let me go back to these comments. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit far behind. Let's have a look. The site sent you free socks too, and you think you like them more than the new trainers. What, the same socks as mine, the more mile one? I've tried the Hilly socks. I've tried loads of Nike socks. Don't like them. They're too narrow, too tight. Whereas these, the reason they're left and right is because they've got the grips in specific places on the feet, so it gives your arch that bit of support. The other thing that I've started using, because I'm going to be doing the half marathon soon, is these gels. I used to use them, but they didn't used to come in these big packets. They used to be a much smaller packet. So this is a new brand that I'm using called Go Isotonic Energy. They sort of got the top rating on Amazon, so I thought I'd order a pack. Yesterday I tried one out, so I've been using them on my sort of 10k weekly runs, just to make sure that they work on my stomach. And yesterday I used the orange flavour, and that was actually quite nice. Last week I used blackcurrant. It was vile. It was absolutely vile. It's like baby food, so there's a sort of yuck sensation to it, but yeah, the orange was nice. So I've got pineapple and lemon and lime and pink grapefruit and tropical and apple to try still. Oh, and yeah, pineapple. So I'll be trying those out over the next couple of weeks. What I found was, with my 5k run, I found that after that 5Ks, my body wants to stop. Now, I also have COPD. So I've got, here's a list of my illnesses that I have. So I've got COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is basically, I used to smoke heavily, and it's a lot of the alveoli in my chest are dead. So my oxygen level drops, but I have an inhaler and I use my Ventolin. To be honest, I take my Ventolin inhaler with me. That's the blue one, but I don't use it. I haven't had to use it for ages. So my breathing has actually improved massively through running. I also have chronic kidney disease. However, that's not really affecting me at the moment, probably through the running and the fact that I drink probably about 2 litres of water a day. I was hugely overweight. I was in the obese category. I have a complex hiatus hernia in the top of my stomach. So I have this whole routine that I go through before I run. And I have to go through that to make sure that my stomach doesn't play up. So I had to lose the weight to get the operation, and I'm still waiting for that operation. I haven't heard back from the surgeon yet. Then I broke my leg a couple of times while running, my right tibia, stress fractures. And the last time I also managed to injure the, not the Achilles tendon, but the tendon above it. I can't remember the name of it now. And so that whole side of my right ankle is swollen. But running, I've had to change my running style with my feet, it doesn't get sore. And then I wear sandals in the house. I can't wear shoes, boots, heels, none of that anymore. It's either my running trainers or sandals. So I run with all of those things going on, but I just, you know, most of the time I run with a smile on my face, because it's better to run with a smile on your face. It uses less muscles and gives you less wrinkles. Thank you, Scott, for the kudos on my improvement. And I've still got a long way to go. In the heat too, yeah, I do run in the heat. I run any weather, snow, rain, wind, heat. I don't like the heat. I much prefer to run in sort of like 7 to 10 degrees. That is the perfect running temperature for me. Because then I can wear just a running top and shorts or leggings, whichever I'm wearing. Yeah, when it's too hot, I end up pouring half the water on my head. Think postmenopausal, you know, so my body runs hot as it is. Bug of the survival in an apocalypse make me a zombie, you give up. Oh no, I'm far too much of a survival enthusiast, Scott. Yeah, when I lived in South Africa, I had a pew-pew. Was needed for my job because I used to drive very long distances and had stuff in my vehicle that could have, you know, been stolen. Also, there was an attempted hijacking on me as well in my car once. Luckily, it didn't happen because I had my pew-pew. The men had some of that Dunning-Kruger effect. Yes, they did, Trip. They definitely did. It is the conditioning that the manosphere is giving these young men and boys at the moment. And I don't know if you saw Adolescence. Absolutely brilliant series on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, I really strongly suggest you watch it. I binged it. It was that good. And I knew that it was about a lot of stuff from the manosphere and Andrew Tate, and I do report on Andrew Tate. And it is, yeah, it's, I see this sort of thing online a lot. There's a guy I follow called Gadget. He's Australian, and he does a lot of reporting on the Tates and on that kind of manosphere. He also does stuff on Tommy Robinson as well. So definitely, definitely worth following his channel. A really good channel to follow. And I made some comments on one of his videos, and the guy came on and said, no, it's, 10%, women want 10% of men. I'm like, look around you. Was your mother with that 10% of men? Was your sister? Was your grandmother? What about your aunts? And are they with this top 10% of men? You're being fed these lies by people like Andrew Tate because they want you to spend money. They want your money. So yeah, you've got to, look at this stuff. And this guy's like telling me, oh, but it's the 80-20 effect. And I thought, okay, here we go again. I've discussed this so many times on various videos that I've done. And in the comments section, I think, Trip, you were talking about the hole in the bucket guy that I was talking to. I can't remember the discussion with him, but there was a lot of aggro. Yeah, these manfluencers, I see it, on other videos as well. Speech Professor, I don't know if anybody's seen him. He's on TikTok. He's also on Facebook now as well. He'll play clips of videos that have been on TikTok of men saying, if a woman says no, carry on. No, if a woman says no, she means no, go away. It's footage that I saw a couple of days, I saw it a couple of weeks ago, and it came up on my feed again. Two girls in a bar in America. They sat with a meal that they've got at a table, and these two guys come and sit with them, and they don't want these guys to sit with them. And they keep telling these guys, look, go away, go away, go away. They must have said it about 50 or 60 times, and these guys would not go away. They just sat there, looking and smiling as if to say, but we want to talk to you. But these, like, we don't want to talk to you. We are enjoying our meal. And there were plenty of empty tables that they could go to. And this is what women go through. Sorry. I was speaking to my niece over the weekend because my family lives out in Liverpool. We're not from Liverpool, but we... oh, I see that Gadget's just come up on my feed and he's put a new video out, so I'll be watching that later. So I was in Liverpool and my niece went to London to visit her, to go see a show, and they went to a club and they were dancing. Her and a friend were dancing on the dance floor and they just wanted to dance, you know. And she's 24 and she's really cute. She's got long sort of blonde curly hair. It's naturally curly. She's got amazing hair that most women want. And she... and they were dancing and these guys kept harassing them and sort of trying to dance with them. And they're like, leave us alone, leave us alone. It's happening to my niece. That scares me. That terrifies me. Coming back to the comments here. Thank you, Trip, for the condolences. It was a long time ago and I do think about her. But, you know, she was a little girl, but it wasn't meant to be. And I've done a huge amount of therapy since then. And that's why I'm studying psychology now, because I want to do therapy and help other people. Thanks, Trip, for being inspirational. I do my best. You hard boil some eggs and take a bit of fruit. Yeah, I always take food for after I finish running, but solid food when I'm running is not going to help me with my stomach. If it gets stuck in my hernia, I won't be able to move. It hurts me that much that my stomach goes into spasm. The textural thing, Scott, okay, yeah, it is a bit bleh. So I sort of have you know, it's a lot to try and have in one sort of mouthful. So I have a bit and then swill with water and have a bit more and swill with water. But it does help. I found, though, that it takes about another kilometre for it to kick in. So I started using them a little bit earlier in my run. Robinson got out today. Oh, my God. You what? How do you run all that much? Trip, I'm just a long distance. I like my endurance sports. I used to cycle. As well. I had a mountain bike, not road biking. I love being out in nature and challenging myself against roots and hills. Yeah, I just run. I run until I can't run anymore. Hernia, welcome to my world. Yeah, it's crap. I'm going to have to go and have a look at that Robinson stuff. Hi, Elle, lovely to see you. No means no, end of. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Definitely it means no. No means no, but a lot of guys don't accept it. They think, oh, it means that she's playing hard to get. And this is what their fathers told them, that if a girl says no, just try again, you know. Yeah, you saw that video and they said no loads of times in different ways. Yeah, I've got to the point now where I tell them to F off, I shout, and I growl or bark like a dog. They don't like that. But I'm lucky. I don't really go out much. I'm a bit of a recluse. I go running, but I run in nature. I don't run where there are people. There are dog walkers, but I know them, they're all local. And then when I go to Clumber, which is the forest near me, I do my big runs there, and there are very, very few people. I run off, you know, not on the main tracks, I run off trail. Trip, you're a lazy runner, you take 30-minute breaks. You know, when I started running, Trip, first time and this time, because of my breathing and my various illnesses and trying to lose weight, I started walking, running. So I started walking first of all, and I had my stick. That's how it started. So I'd walk and then speed up my walk, and I've got a watch that times me. I use the Strava app on my phone. And then I started running. So I would run 100 steps, walk 200-300 steps, run 100 steps, and I would do that 3 or 4 times. And then slowly I increased the steps that I ran and cut down the steps that I walked. And that day when I ran through the woods for the first time without stopping, it was my biggest milestone for me. I just, cheered and was so happy that I'd managed to run that distance without stopping, because the run that I do is mostly uphill. Even when you're coming downhill, it feels like you're going uphill. Yeah, and it's a very sort of slow incline as well, so you can feel it for quite a while. Then when I'm in the woods, it's mostly flat, but then there's a massive hill as I come back, which I have to take really, really slowly, and it feels like hell when I'm running that hill. Lazy runner, not the best name for running. Yeah, the video, the guys thought they were flirting back. Yeah, they did. They did think they were flirting back. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying that I'm old enough now, I'm 56, I'm old enough to know and to recognize and to sort of glower at somebody and you're not coming near me. I mean, I'm a goth. When I go out, I'm gothed up. I've been running today. I don't so much dress up in the house anymore, and I'm busy with housework this afternoon. So a lot of people tend to give me a wide berth, which is great. One thing I have found as well is, I go to rock festivals, rock gigs, and that sort of thing. And the goth and metal community don't do that to women. They don't harass them. That is the one thing that I've noticed. I'll be at, hi Billy, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Really, really, really appreciate it. I really do. I'm going to be talking about Farage in a minute. I don't know if anybody saw his speech that he did. Oh my God. That despicable creature. But yeah, I worry for my niece. I worry for other women, the youngsters of today, the young women of today who have to go through that. I mean, I have experienced so much in my life. Rape, attempted rape, SV, SA and DV. I cannot say what those terms are because YouTube doesn't like those terms. Scott, yeah, Farage, the epitome of creep. Yeah, I don't call him Farage, I call him Farage because it's spelt like garage. I refused to use posh words on people like him. I have experienced being touched up in public, in shops, in the daytime. I experienced being whistled at and catcalled when I was a schoolgirl in my school uniform. I have experienced so many different types of abuse from entitled men who think that it's okay to do that. And they were taught that by their fathers. And then we have people like Tate who go out there and try to teach that to the youth of today. And you know what? Tate is just a grifter. He is a massive grifter. These lads pay, I think it's 50 quid a month to be on the in the real world, or which was the Hustlers University. It's now the real world. And they pay for these courses, and it basically they have to play chess, and they have to go to gym, and they have to do a certain amount of work, and they pay this money to Tate, and it also teaches them how to pimp. the pimping HOES degree that they had under the, Hustlers University, before it was called the Real World, teaching them how to set up women on OF and basically pimp them. Fart rage, love that. Oh poop, I forgot about my chicken nuggets in the oven. Oh no, Trip, I hope that they are okay. I really hope that they're okay. Billy, I don't know if you're referring to what I'm talking about with Andrew Tate. Yeah. I have done loads of videos on Andrew Tate. Check out my Andrew Tate playlist if you want to have a look at them. But also there's a guy that I really recommend you follow. Gadget, his name is, and he reports on Tate. Now, Tate is actually suing a whole load of content creators on YouTube and on Twitter who have exposed Tate for what he is. And he's saying that they are, it's defamation. So he's suing them. And this is real. This is real. I'm not on that list, thank goodness, but there are quite a lot of small content creators who've been calling Tate out who are being sued by them. You know, you can try and sue me. I have absolutely nothing. Burnt your nuggets, but edible. Tate University is where to find the worst of the worst, I'd imagine. Yeah, I've not paid to be on it, but these guys who are investigating and calling Tate out for what he is have, and they're on there and they see this happening. Anyway, the case against them in Romania has not been dropped. A lot of people keep saying, oh, the Romanian, the Tatetots, the fanboys, keep saying, oh, the case has been dropped. It hasn't been dropped. It is still ongoing. The information is all on the Romanian website. It's all in Romanian, but you can translate it into English. However, Gadget has got a load of that information on his channel, so it makes it easier to go and watch. But there are 77,000 pages of evidence against them. So them saying they've got no evidence is absolute BS. What's happening is that their lawyer is obviously constantly saying that this evidence needs to be removed and so on and so on. So the court case is being pushed back. But after they are finished in Romania, they will be extradited to the UK. That has been arranged. They are facing 4 charges of SA, SV and grape here. You can actually support the ladies who have put those charges against him. And then there are 2 or 3 cases in the US. How far that's going to go, I don't know. But these young lads and, you know, men defend them and say, no, that's not what they're doing. There is video footage of Tate saying, you know, grab the woman by the throat and slap her around the face to make her do what you want her to do. Advocating violence against women. Sorry, just looking at this. Just ask these young lads, would you let Tate babysit your sister or take care of your mum? Hopefully they'd say no. Exactly. PA problem is the 1% of stuff that Tate says that makes good sense gets guys into the spiral of the awful. Yeah. He does, you know, some of the things that he says, going to gym, taking care of yourself, you know, those I agree with. But there are other influencers out there that also talk about that, male influencers who talk about that, but don't go on to say you need to pimp or abuse or, you know, hurt other people. Oh, by the way, those cars that he has, the Bugatti, it doesn't belong to him. They're on loan. They're on loan. And it is grooming. Yes, it is grooming. And they groom the women. It's called the lover boy method, how they get these women to go and work for them. They start to create this sort of relationship thoughts and ideas with these women that live abroad, and they then promise that they're going to marry them. these women move to Romania to be with them, and then they end up being put into a house, not necessarily into Tate's warehouse that was converted into where he stays there, and they work for him. Some of them work for 12 hours, 24 hours non-stop on video cam on OF. And the other women who are there, he's got, I think it's 2 or 3 women. I can't remember their names now. It'll come to me. Who have been with Tate for a long time. One of them was underage when Tate met her. And it's the one that was in the footage from when he was kicked out of Big Brother. And her name, Vivian, that's her name, Vivian. And so she was 15 when he first met her. So underage. Statutory rape. And, you know, he's admitted this. He's not said that she was that old, but he's sort of said, well, he was with her for this long, and that's, you know, how long they were together. So, and when you work it out, age-wise, she was 15. So they not only traffic these women, but they groom them, and then they have what they call their bottom biatches who train the girls to become OF workers. Anyway, let's stop talking about that despicable man and let's talk about another despicable man. Farage. Yeah, did anybody see his speech today? I didn't see it live because I was out on my run, but I watched it while I was mopping the floor. Well, I didn't watch it, I listened to it. Oh, the party of the workers. This is a man who is a toff. And I just want to say, I know that a lot of you guys who are watching watch Graham Hughes on Politics Social. Absolutely brilliant channel to follow and watch. He's absolutely amazing. I loved his show this morning where he was talking about all the different countries that he's visited. Just amazing to see his enthusiasm for, you know, the work that he's done. But yeah, Farage he's not for the working people. His party, Deform, tough is one word for him, Scott. Yeah, I know. I call him other names, but, you know, I don't want YouTube to put me down on the list because of certain words. So he claims to be the party of the working people. From the interviews that I've seen from, I think I was watching one on Politics Joe. Alex did one as well from Political X. I think Femi's done a couple of interviews with people in those areas where Deform got into power. I live in, not Bassett Law, that was my old one, but they've got a Deform councillor now. I live in Bolsover. We now have a Deform councillor. And when I went to vote, I was looking at all the other people coming in to vote, and they were all boomers and above. Not all boomers. I just want to, you know, say that. I could see that they were going to vote for reform. And it comes back to, this is my belief and my own opinion, so, you know, I have not done any research on this, but I would like to perhaps have a look at the research on this for when I do my dissertation, when I finish my degree, but that older people in that generation want to take time back to the 50s and 60s when they believed that life was better. Now, I was born in 1969 and I grew up in the 70s. We didn't have central heating. The house was freezing. We used to get frost on the inside of the windows. I remember there being a mangle in the back garden. My mum had a top loader washing machine, you know, the one with the spinny thing and the mangle. I don't want to go back to that. I'd like to go back to the peace and quiet that was the time, and when you would lie in the garden and look up the sky, and there would be no, you know, a lot less planes, and the music then was much better, but you can't go back. I was listening to some LBC callers. I was listening to, when I was driving back from Liverpool on Sunday, I was listening to Vanessa Feltz, and she was talking about the two-child benefit cap being lifted. And some people were phoning in and saying it shouldn't be. Their age demographic was boomer. And the ones that said it should be removed were obviously younger people. And this one lady phoned in, and she was in her 80s, and she had 13 kids when she was young. No, her mother had 13 kids, and she was one of those kids. And she was saying, oh, life was great, and, you know, this, that, and the next thing. I'm sorry, my mum was born in 1937, and she tells me stories of having to have a bath once a week in a copper bathtub in front of the fire. The toilet was down at the bottom of the garden. During the war, my granddad at that time grew potatoes in the garden. You know, the whole garden was given over to vegetables. That granddad worked for the electricity company and put up pylons at the time. He was adopted. He was a stepfather to my mum. My mum's dad was in Tripoli and didn't make it back, and his name is on a monument there. And my other granddad from my other side of the family, from my dad's side, was a coal miner. Let's have a look here. Trip, they're in Leicester, yeah, Reform won a few seats. Scott, a time that never existed. It didn't, Scott. They live in this time of fantasy. You know, these are people that drive cars and you know, have their pensions, have had, you know, own their own houses. Their houses they bought cheaply, and they're now worth $500,000 upwards. You know, kids today, I know my niece and nephew still live at home with my sister. The chances of them buying their own home anytime soon is ridiculous. And also renting. I rent. It's a private rent. I'm lucky in one way, unlucky in another way. Where I rent, they want to build a road through my house to create a new village behind me. The local community has been fighting that because basically the houses are going to be 4-bedroom luxury homes. They're not going to be social housing. But not only that, the land is greenbelt. It is, you know, the woods, they're bluebell. You've seen the footage of where I run and the photos that I take. And it's the old mill house. This house that I live in was the pit boss's house. There's a mine shaft in my garden. So yeah, they want to knock my house down. So my rent, because the house is basically falling to pieces, lots of issues with it. So my rent has been kept low, and I look constantly for other houses to rent. And the only thing that I would be able to afford would be a room in an HMO. That would be no good for me. I have 5 cats. 1969, A Good Sisters of Mercy track. Definitely, Elle, definitely. I saw them, was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before, in November at Rock City in Nottingham. They were brilliant. Trip, we had an outdoor toilet. I remember sitting on it in winter. Ish, single pane windows, 1 radiator in the room. Yeah, been there, done that. We all want to, Scott, we all want to be in a constable world, but the reality would be awful. Absolutely. I was thinking to myself earlier, you know, when Farage was talking about getting people off of benefits. Now, yeah, but we all know, and I mean, I listen to Max as well, Maximilian's channel, and All Shorts, and Power to the People, and Ollie's channel, and Daily Blase. I do watch all, I don't get to see all the videos, but they all mention that the vast majority of people who are on universal credit are in work. It's that simple. Shared baths on a Sunday and a Wednesday if lucky, yeah, absolutely. I remember back in the water shortage in the 70s, I think it was 76 when we had the massive drought. Me and my sister had to share the bath after my mum and dad had been in. Elle, your gran had 6 kids. They had an outdoor toilet and no bath. Sink washers in the kitchen. Elle, they sound like the Dead Kennedys. Oh, I love the Dead Kennedys. I used to love them. Holiday in Cambodia, brilliant track. Brilliant track. Elle, you've got some stuff by them. I'm guessing that's Dead Kennedys. Do you like the Idols? Love their music. I don't really know them. I will have to give them a listen. I actually got another Lord of the Lost CD yesterday, because they're one of my favourite bands at the moment. They're playing at Bloodstock this year, which is why I decided to buy my ticket. Actually, it's a really good lineup this year at Bloodstock. And yeah, I'm a massive fan. I've seen them twice already, but I'm really looking forward to seeing them on the big stage. They're not headlining. I wish they were. Hopefully next time they play, they will... hopefully next time they play, they will be headlining. So yeah, Farage saying, you know, get those on benefits off of benefits. The problem is that people are not paid enough. Many women, you know, sometimes it's men, have to look after the kids as well. He was also talking about marriage and people staying in marriages, which I find interesting because the vast majority of marriages are initiated by the woman. And do you know why? Because the man's cheated or they're abusive. So why should a woman or a couple stay in a marriage that is toxic? And he was saying that it has been found more beneficial for the child to grow up in a familial home. Yes, it is. As long as those parents are actually decent parents and not abusive. I watch another channel called, what are they called? Misery something. I can't remember now. But a couple from the States, they do videos on abusive, you know, people who've been unalived, kids who've been unalived, and it's just horrific, the amount of parents that do that. And I just cry sometimes when I watch those videos, but because I'm studying psychology, it's the sort of thing that I have to sort of watch in order for me to have that knowledge and understanding of why people do that. Which you checked out that tribute band you mentioned earlier on. They seem pretty good and well together. They are brilliant. They really are good. I saw them in Liverpool last year. My sister bought us tickets to go as part of my birthday present, and absolutely fantastic. The lead vocalist, he comes out on stage like Robert Smith from The Cure, like Peter Murphy from Bauhaus. The woman that they have doing Susie, she is amazing, absolutely brilliant. And then she also comes out like Patricia, and she plays the bass like from Sisters of Mercy. So it's definitely worthwhile watching them, because I think the tickets, they played at the O2 Academy in Liverpool, and I think the tickets were only like 15 quid. So, you know, worthwhile going to see them. They get the crowd going. The whole crowd was jumping up and down and singing, and it was just brilliant. Really brilliant gig. Definitely worth watching. Scott, that summer of 76, your dad got reported by a neighbour and questioned by the police for having a green garden. He used to siphon the bath water that he kept in the bath for days for watering. Yeah. Yeah. Trip, that Bela Lugosi track is epic. Definitely. Definitely. Still one of my favourite Bauhaus tracks. I saw Peter Murphy play a couple of years ago. He was playing with The Mission, also at Rock City. He was doing solo stuff, so he was the opener for The Mission. I've seen The Mission loads. I've actually met the band a couple of times as well. But he was opening for The Mish, and he did Bela Lugosi. And, oh, yeah, just that, as soon as that bass starts, that dum, 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 that is like, yeah, sort of hairs stand up. The Cure Rule. I was never a massive fan of The Cure, to be honest. But I listened to the new stuff, not really my cup of tea. But I don't know if you ever heard him and Steve Severin's stuff, The Glove. It was just one album that they did. The album's called Blue Sunshine. I've got it on vinyl. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Very weird and very, very different to The Cure. But worth listening to. Also, after Bauhaus, there was Love and Rockets with Daniel Ash and David J. They formed Love and Rockets, and then they also formed Tones on Tail. But Love and Rockets, excellent band. Scott, musically out of your depth here. Oh, bless you. What do you listen to, Scott? We can have a talk about what you listen to. In Texas, they've made it illegal to collect rainwater. Man, what? Illegal to collect rainwater? That's mental. That's absolutely mental. If I had my own property, I'd have a water butt, but I don't, and I'm not paying for one to put in here when the house is going to be demolished. They said because of the pollution. I guess that's one thing. But, you know, people could put a filter in or use the chlorine tablets. Billy, you're out of your depth as well. Guys, let me know what you listen to. Let me know what gigs you've been to. But coming back to Frogage, so he said about getting people off benefits and wanting to basically keep people in marriages. And obviously he wants couples to have children because he wants to send back all of the asylum seekers. He wants to do it, obviously, illegally. And this is his plan. And I know that age group, that generation, want the same thing. Because they don't want to see people of a different colour on the streets. I grew up in South Africa from 1982 to 2006. I lived there. I am used to multiculturalism. I am used to all different cultures. I'm used to 12 different languages. You know, there's 11 official languages, and then the 12th one that we used to call was Fanagalo, which is a language that's a sort of mishmash. It's got about 50 or 60 words in it, but it was used in the mines. So it's a very, you know, easy language to understand. And a lot of people use it because you've got Northern Sotho, Southern Sotho, Xhosa, Zulu, I cannot remember all of the names of all of the languages now, but you learn, like you do English and Afrikaans at school, because they're the two main languages, and then you can do either Zulu or Xhosa as a second language. So I know a few words from Zulu and Xhosa that I, you know, can use to get along. But I speak Afrikaans fluently. And that annoys me about sort of like that boomer generation, not all boomers, when they go abroad, they don't want to speak the language. My parents wouldn't learn Afrikaans. They refused. I just feel that if you're going to live in another country that's not an English-speaking country, you should learn their language. It's just polite. Older cure better, definitely. Forest, love a Forest. Never Stuff More, the Samey, last 3 albums. The Glove I Love got the 2-disc deluxe with Robert Smith singing the demos. Oh wow, that's amazing, Elle. Scott, I'm stuck in the 60s and 70s, mostly Led Zepp, Creedence, The Who. Music stopped apart from a rare thing in 1984. Evanescence though, yeah, she's good. Amy Lee's brilliant, got a fantastic voice. Zepp, I love Led Zepp. I've got a few of their albums, vinyls. Physical Graffiti, the one with the pocket that opens, it's got all the little holes where the windows are. Jake Thackeray. Billy, I don't know Jake Thackeray. Gonna have to give him a listen. Trip, wait a second, I just Googled it and I'm wrong. It's totally legal to collect rainwater in Texas. Seems like my old boss was extracting the urine out of the British lad. Ah, okay. Keeping you on your toes. I can't think of how many times I threw rainwater away. I actually have a lot of sort of buckets and bowls and stuff out in the courtyard here that I collect rainwater in, mostly for the cats to drink. Why? You know, I have a water fountain for the cats, but they prefer the dirty water in the bucket. There's cats for you. So yeah, he wants to force people into marriages. I just think that some of the things that he is, one thing that he said, which I found quite amusing, was that he survived the snake pit thing in the thing that he did, Survivor, whatever it was. I'm not sure because I don't watch reality TV. And I thought, yeah, of course you survived because you're a snake yourself. The Hair of the Widow of Bridlington is a fine place to start. Is it like folky music, Billy? I'm obsessed with Jesse Wells right now. One man, one guitar and a harmonica, very political, sings about nature, animals, flowers, very intellectual lyrics. Excellent. I don't know if you've heard New Model Army. Also very, very political. Another one of my favourite bands, seen them a couple of times. I was actually watching a movie the other day with my mum, Twisters, the second, you know, the 20, 30-year follow-up to Twister. And all of that music on there was country and western, and I actually really loved it. And there was one song on there by Jelly Roll, never heard him before, and I was like, this guy sounds brilliant. So my dad used to listen to country and western, and I was sat there thinking he would have loved this movie with the music in it. So I might actually just get myself a copy of that movie. Your dog drinks from your pond rather than anywhere else, obviously knows something we don't. Trip, War Isn't Murder. Sons of Anarchy soundtracks is fabulous. I will take a listen to that. Trip, Jelly Roll voice is very cool. It is. He is very, very cool. I was quite surprised. There were a couple of women on there as well that had really excellent voices, and I was like, yeah, I'm very big fan of female vocalists. I listen to Kate Bush, Susie, Sheryl Crow, Alanis Morissette, Pat Benatar, Lita Ford. Stevie Nicks. I saw Stevie Nicks last year. She was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I'm a massive female vocalist fan, but I used to sing in a band, so I guess that's where that comes from. So the other thing that Farage has said is he wants to have or I think Keir Starmer said he wants to have a debate with Farage, and Farage has said, yeah, he'll happily debate him, but he wants to do it in a pub. Of course he does, because he knows he will have that backing, that support. He was really ripping into Keir Starmer. Now, I did vote for Keir Starmer as the leader of the party. However, he needs to go. He needs to go. He is just making such a mess of things. And I'm very disappointed in the fact that Labour are now trying to play catch up with Farage. And these policies should have already been in place. And the fact that he has, of course, talked about PIP, you know, I receive PIP. If I don't receive PIP, I will be living in my tents. Somebody said to me the other day, get yourself a van and become a van lifer. If I could afford a van, I would. But how do I have 5 cats in a van? Let's have a look. Billy, big fan of female vocalists. Alanis Morissette calls Stevie Nicks sexiest voice, sexiest ever voice, ever. Yeah, she's just got an amazing voice. I thought about Kate Bush earlier when you said about running up that hill near you. Yeah, actually, sometimes that's in my head. I was lucky enough in 2016 to get a ticket to see Kate Bush. I was sat there from like 9 o'clock, type. I'm a very fast typer, to get onto the tickets. It was a standing ticket, sort of down the edges of upstairs, but oh my God, she was phenomenal. It was, okay, I've seen loads of bands, and I've seen Rammstein, who are brilliant live. I've seen Slipknot, they're brilliant live. I've seen so many bands, but Kate Bush live was just phenomenal. She was amazing. So I was really, really happy that I got to see her, you know, because she doesn't tour. She didn't tour abroad because she doesn't like going abroad. She's very much a homebody. Underneath the Ivy is a book that was written about her, and it's a really good book about her. And I didn't know she was in a relationship with David Gilmour. And he actually wrote a lot of music with her. So that was interesting. Just having a look. Dojo Cuts, don't know her, but I'll give that a listen. I also listen to stuff. There's a group called the Medieval Babes. They are like a sort of choral group. There's about 13 of them in the group, and they do a whole load of sort of pagan-y kind of songs, old lyrics, singing in Old English. Really excellent. And I also listen to a lot of Nordic music as well, from the different Nordic companies. I went to see Heilong, who are a Nordic band. Well, they're actually German, but they sing, their songs are all very Nordic in their you know, lyrics and so on. And the one song that they sing, Anno Anna, which is my favorite track by them, nobody knows what the lyrics mean because they are based on coins that were found. And so these words have just been put together in this song. There is one specific word that they do think means warrior because it sounds like warrior when they say it. Did anyone see the Aramaic version of War Pigs? You put it on the Discord. Which Discord is that, Trip? I'm not sure which one that is. Roy Harper, Another Day version by Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel. Ooh. I do like Peter Gabriel as well. I do actually have one of his albums. I used to work in the record industry back when there was vinyl. The social thingy. Okay, right, okay. I'm not on that. I just have so much stuff going on at the moment. Yeah, Scott, you've got a new playlist here. There's quite a few bands actually that sound like Led Zepp that you might be interested in, but I can't think of any of the names off the top of my head. Yeah, I didn't know she did more than 2 songs with Peter Gabriel as well. Don't Give Up and Games Without Frontiers. Did she do Games Without Frontiers? I don't think she did. I think that was his own track, but she did Don't Give Up. I'm trying to think now. I can't check on my phone because I'm using my phone to record on. Never heard Aramaic, it kind of blew you away. Yeah, the ancient language of Christ, I believe, if we believe that Christ existed. Now, there's an interesting conversation. I'm not going to get into religion because that's a whole different thing. I am a minister, but I'm not a Christian minister. I'm a pagan minister. However, theology does interest me greatly. The French bit, okay, thank you, Elle. So coming back to Farage and his ridiculous attempts at becoming PM, and the scary thing is, he may well end up being the PM. I think we have to start educating the youth and getting them to start becoming more involved in politics. My niece voted for the Green Party, but she's vegetarian. She's not a vegan. She's vegetarian. She loves animals. She was working at the RSPCA until recently. She, you know, she's very much into that whole side of things. So, yeah. And, you know, if the Green Party were just stronger than they are, it's a party that I could definitely get behind. I am a Labour member. However, if they don't start sorting themselves out with PIP and the disability and, you know, the pension and so on, I am going to be leaving, just like Phil and others. I think at the moment I'm sort of in that place where I can do better from within the party than from without the party. Which have I heard of a channel called The Line? It's a live call-in show for theists to try to prove their beliefs. Matt Dillahunty show. I've not heard of that. I will have to give that a listen. Kids need to be taught better on World War II. Absolutely. Absolutely. They need to understand what fascism is and how it develops and is created. And I look back to the 70s when the skinhead movement came out and you had the BNP and that whole movement. And yet, the music of the time, the specials, the beat, Funboy 3, all of those bands were mixed race. And, you know, was it the Special AKA that released Free Nelson Mandela? We used to sing that in South Africa. We used to dance to that. It was like a massive thing. I remember when I left school, growing up in South Africa, very, very different to growing up in the UK. I mean, I did my first term of comp. And then we went to South Africa. And I hated school there, absolutely loathed it. It's so strict and just awful. And history just was, all we learned about was Bismarck. So dull and boring. Geography was great. I had a great geography teacher who also taught, she started teaching about ecology as well, which was really interesting. So that sort of gave me you know, a love of geography, but my history teacher was dreadful. She just was so dull and boring. But yeah, kids do need to be taught better. They need to be taught critical thinking, for one thing, and how to think for yourself. You know, when you're in school, you're taught parrot fashion. One thing that I've noticed now doing my psychology degree is writing the essays. I have to give my own opinion with psychology. And the previous module that I did, I had to stick to facts. And so that was a sociology course, social sciences course, which was based on specific facts. But this one, we have to theorize and make our own hypotheses and sort of, you know, look at it from that sort of research side of things. yeah, I think that it's given me a whole new way of looking at studying and learning, because I was force-fed. I had to do exams. So it was just parroting what I'd been taught. And I was never any good at maths in school. However, all the maths exams, or, things that I've had to do, the electronic maths stuff, I've got 100% in. I don't know how. I don't cheat. I have my calculator. Yeah, I know, there's a calculator on my phone, but I learned to calculate with buttons, not phone with no buttons. Not for me. I can type quicker. A teacher moment, you remember, question you're Jewish and the German army is coming towards you, how would you feel? I said, a bit scared. The bang on the desk. He banged on the desk and said, you'd be pooing yourself. It sank in. Yeah. He also called us toe rags. Brilliant teacher, really good and down to earth. That's it. If you've got a good teacher, you get engaged with the subject. My English teacher was amazing. She was just brilliant. My Afrikaans teacher as well. First I had to do immigrant Afrikaans, then I went up into normal Afrikaans, because for my matric, which is the same as your A levels, I had to do proper Afrikaans. And they were both brilliant. They were both really encouraging. And I remember being asked questions, and if I put my hand up in class, she would say, okay, Debbie, what's the answer? And I respond. And so you felt sort of like, wow, I'm actually making this massive difference. But yeah, they need to teach cognitive dissonance. They need to teach a whole different set of skills in school today. Obviously, reading and writing and maths is important, and using computers. I mean, kids nowadays know how to use computers anyway. I lived in a time where we didn't even have a house phone. We had to walk to the ticky box, 2p a call. Times have changed so much in the last 45 years since I was a kid. Just immense, quick changes. I never wanted a mobile phone. I was like, no, I don't want a mobile phone. Then I had to get one for work, and it was the old Nokia, the brick one with the aerial that pulled out. I can't remember what it was called. I think it had like a really small screen. And then the next one that I got was where you had Snake, and you could play Snake. I started to watch that Inglorious Betards, and I just couldn't get into it. I must go back and watch it again. You wonder if you have a halfpenny in the drawer somewhere. When I used to do, my dad was never a gardener. He hated gardening, and we had this garden full of weeds. It was like a jungle. We had nettles, and we had rose bay willow herb, and we had baby oak trees growing, and long grass, and all sorts of things going on. We could also use next door's garden as well, so it was like there was no fence. And all the kids used to come and play in our garden because it was like a jungle. We'd play these sort of, jungle type games, like fighting lions in the jungle or whatever. But anyway, the front garden was quite neat. And I used to go and dig the borders, just, I guess that's where my sort of gardening stuff comes in now. But I'd dig around the front door, and I'd find, those big halfpennies, the big ones, not the little ones, but the big ones. Billy, yeah, we did have loads of wildlife. Originally, the house backed onto woods and fields, but then they built on it. I have more wildlife now on the back, though, because the back is a field. So we get foxes. Hedgehogs don't really come in here very much, because field behind me, the hedgehogs will stay there, and it's brick walls, although they could get under the gate. Pheasants, loads of bird life. I've got bats living in my garage. There are newts, there's kingfisher in the lake, there's herons, there's a fishing lake, there's herons there. There's a couple of geese there at the moment, grey-lag geese, which is nice for a change rather than the other kind of geese. I have toads and frogs in my garden. I get lots of mice and shrews and rats. The cats bring them in. But yeah, I like living in the countryside, although I've got a main road on the one side of me. But I lived in big cities most of my life. I lived in Johannesburg. I lived in Cape Town. And yeah, just too much. Just too much. Just too much. I think when you're young, living in a city is great, but when you get older, you want to live further out. And then, of course, I got ill, so, you know, my mental health sort of went downhill. So I like living on my own. I like being a bit of a recluse. You were watching a black cat this morning hunting spiders. Awesome. When I was running today up the path between the fields, there's hedges on both sides, and there were little wrens flitting between the hedges. I love that. And there's a robin who follows me, and there are lots of blackbirds. There's a thrush. There are some of the tit family, blue tits, great tits. I've seen some finches. I've seen nuthatches. And when I was running, not this week in the forest, but last week in the forest, there was a cuckoo. I could hear the cuckoo, very loud. Wasn't in the part of the forest that I was in. It was sort of about 1 kilometre away, but the sound was echoing. A goth nightclub, Elle. Yes, I love it. Absolutely love it, because it does look like a goth nightclub. Definitely does look like a goth nightclub. Right, guys, I'm going to get going because I'm starving. I need to eat. I need to get my tea. I'm having tuna salad today. I just want to say thank you so much to you guys for tuning in and sticking with me and watching me for 1.5 hours. I really, really do appreciate it. And thank you for, you know, following the channel, for subbing to the channel. I didn't talk about all the things that I wanted to talk about, but I will be doing some more lives now that I'm off for summer. So yeah, I just hope that I'm going to be recording some more videos this week as well. So probably after tomorrow, after my landlady's been to have a look at the property and that, I'm going to go for a run, and then I'll probably do some recording. Got so much stuff to record, so much content to put together. I've enjoyed it too. It's been really great talking to you all, and just, you know, finding out more about you and the music that you all like, and, you know, it's just cool. It's just really cool. And you guys all watch, you know, Politics Social, and probably all the same people that I watch as well. So I'll see you there. I will be, if Graham does Geoscope tonight, I will be there. Does Max do Tuesdays? I'm not sure if he does, or if he just does, I can't remember now. But I will be on Politics Social in the morning. Probably won't be able to comment because I'll be sorting out the house ready for when my landlady comes. But I will see you all later. Take care, everyone. Mwah, and blessed be. Now I have to stand up to turn this off because it's on my phone. So, and thank you to all of those who have donated to Cats Protection. If you could donate to Cats Protection, I would really, really, really appreciate it. I will pop a link into the comments. It'll show as a new comment after I've clicked off of the live stream. Yeah, I've run over 100 kilometers this month so far. So I should be finishing on around 115 to 120 this month. So, and it'll be increased next month as I build up to the 10K and then the 15K and then the half marathon. Right, blessed be everybody. Have a great afternoon and evening. Bye-bye. How do I stop this? There we go.